because there seems to be not just the arrogance, not just the we know everything better and we will tell everybody else how they should behave. There's also a complete, at least from what I see, an utter lack of a vision. What is a good process forward? The whole discussion at the moment in Europe seems to just revolve around security, how to be secure, but there's no vision of
Yeah.
why to be secure. I mean, where to go? So okay,
Yes.
fine, we don't have a war. So where
Yes.
do we go without a war once we are secure? Because at the moment it seems that really, the expectation of a war seems to already create almost. We're not yet at euphoria, but we are in a point where people are kind of looking forward to it in order you you want that war. That's the
Yes, yes, but
expectation.
Pascal, it reminds me a bit of Tennyson's poem, The Charge of the Light Brigade. They knew they were going to die, but he glorifies those soldiers. Ours is not to question why. Ours is to do and die. I mean, it's terrible. It's terrible. And I mean, this is the year where we should have been celebrating 50 years of the Helsinki process, you know,
Yeah.
OSCE, which was a very interesting from what I'm told, it was also actually a Russian initiative, a
Yes.
Soviet initiative
Hmm.
at that time, and managed to persuade others to go into it. It's dead. It's
Yeah.
dead. We killed it. I mean, it didn't die. It didn't die on its own. Once the Soviet Union had collapsed, once the Warsaw Pact finished, why the hell should we keep NATO? Why should we tell, I feel strongly about this because the first commitment made not to expand NATO eastward was made in Malta in December of 1989 when Bush and Gorbachev met to discuss what was going to happen in the changes that were, what will happen when the wall goes away, what will happen when Gorbachev told Bush, we are not going to force any government system, any system on our Eastern European countries anymore. And Bush told him, and Ambassador Matlock says this because he was during the meeting. Bush told him, we are not going to take advantage of this. And then things are changed. Now, this is something that both the Russians and the Chinese feel very sensitive about. They say, with whom can we negotiate? If one president tells you we will not move an inch towards you, the next president changes that policy and just goes along and does it. This is it's as if the decline of the West is also inbuilt in its system.
Yeah.
Very short term, very short term electoral cycle, and no continuity. I think this is one of the reasons why there is so much disruption as well. From the point of view even of the European Union.
No, at this point, if I was Russia or China, I would only believe promises from Europe if they were actually in the end not only enshrined in a treaty but ratified by parliament. Before things are not ratified by all member parliaments, you cannot be sure that this has at least a medium life term. Your
Yes,
country, your
it's so
countryman,
sad,
like your countryman Alexander
to see it
Chigona
even
told
with
me.
Minsk, Pascal. Yes, yes,
Alexander Trigona told me that the reason why they were fighting to enshrine Maltese neutrality in the constitution was precisely because of that, because you need to make sure that certain policies, foreign policies, do not change from one administration to the next. So you need to enshrine this stuff in the constitution, the most important things, and at least the next ones you need to enshrine them in ratified treaties. Otherwise,
yes.
they'll be ignored.
That was very wise. Now imagine now, Pascal. I mean, to see how this is important. So it is in our constitution. At the same time, when you read the integrated country report of the Blinken State of Department, the relationship between Malta and the United States from the year 2022 to 2024, goal number one is to align Malta to Western interests. But can you imagine? Can you imagine the sheer contempt even if you do it, do you have the cheek to actually declare that your first goal is to go against the constitution of the other country?
So
However small we are.
there's a foreign policy paper in the United States by the State Department saying a goal of US
Yes,
foreign
yes.
policy is to
And
undermine the Constitution of Malta. And
yes,
it is not even
yes,
hidden. It's
yes,
in plain sight.
yes.
They don't
It's in the public
respect,
domain.
they
It's
respect
yes,
nobody.
com
They don't even pretend.
completely. And I can tell you, and I say this with total frankness. When you talk to some of the American diplomats, the contempt that they have for the Europeans is total. Is total. So making fun of Macron's idea of strategic autonomy, what strategic autonomy? Well, they cannot even organize a party together, let alone have strategic autonomy. The kind of contempt that Victoria Newland is famous for. That is not exceptional. I mean, that is normal. That
But
is
you,
normal.
but this contempt, I mean, is very, very dangerous. I mean, you can see right now how the contempt for like Ukrainian sovereignty that the Biden administration blatantly and under Obama blatantly portrayed
Yes.
led to this use of Ukraine to be the spear tip, right, of the NATO dagger in
Yes.
trying to use it. And it even worse. Now the Trump administration demands the mineral wealth of Ukraine in perpetuity
Yes. Yes.
just because he wants it. And he expects this to
Yes. Yes.
happen. And the negotiations is this is what we want. And if you don't give it to us, then
Yes.
then you're the bad guys and the bad actors. And this is not a this is not a wish. This is not we would like to. This is
Yes.
we deserve this. We gave you all of these weapons, which by the way is just like feeding the military industrial complex and the economy of the United States, right? They fed their own economy and now are demanding even more, being fed even
Yes.
more, and being applauded for that. Isn't it this?
Completely.
And the
Completely.
Europeans are not saying
Completely.
anything, nothing.
No. No.
They support this.
No. This reminds me. This reminds me. Last June, I was in Shanghai
Hmm.
for the Association of Friendship Societies, and I met a former U.S. senator. Now, I want to say this because it ties with what we were saying before. Um, he was a very famous Californian senator. His wife was still an ambassador at the time of Biden. He told me, "Do you know that before I came here, I was visited by FBI to tell me, why are you going to Shanghai? There's no need to go to Shanghai." I said, as if I am coming to Shanghai to betray my country.